It's the last word for your Friday, Canada. You made it. It's the weekend. It is getting closer to the holiday season. You're probably planning some time off, but first you got to take care of your packages. You got to take care of your small business. And so I have a question for you, all of you. Very simple question. As we head into the chaotic holiday rush, can we ever trust Canada Post again? I don't mean someday. I don't mean in theory. I mean this year. Can we trust them with real packages, real gifts, real deadlines, and real small businesses depending on every hour, every delivery, every signature? Think about our economic climate. So small businesses need this now, but can they rely on how to get your packages there? Because right now, the answer is leaning toward a pretty firm no when it comes to Canada Post. And I'm not saying that lightly, by the way. This isn't also a cheap shot at any postal workers. They've been through a ton this year. This isn't about blaming the people who are in the vans or on doorsteps or sorting mail or doing the actual physical work at the Canada Post plants. This is about the system itself, the Crown Corporation, the broken labor relationship, the endless negotiations, the political interference, and the absolute collapse in trust that Canadians are now feeling as December continues on into the holidays. The truth is, Canada Post is running out of goodwill. It's running out of time and running out of excuses as well. And this latest news story about small businesses not being able to trust Canada Post just proves it. Let's go.
Welcome to Bakes on Things.
Welcome back to Bakes on Things, the last word for your Friday. Let's get your weekend started. First, we are going to talk about the news story right now that small businesses are already jumping ship from Canada Post. They're not thinking about alternatives. They're not considering options. They've left. They're gone. They're leaving. UPS, FedEx, even Purolator, a company Canada Post owns a majority stake in, is now stealing business from its own parent. You can't make this stuff up, but it's the reality of the whole situation. And why is this happening? Not because they're cheaper. They're not. But they're reliable, and that's the biggest thing, especially at the holiday season when you're trying to make up for losses and lost time as a small business. And in 2025 and now heading into 2026, reliability is the new currency. Not price, not speed, not geography, reliability. Remember last year when businesses lost over $1 billion last year because of Canada Post's holiday strike? Canada Post lost $208 million directly because of that strike, and a total of $841 million in losses in 2024. This year, they've already lost more than $1 billion, and the holiday crunch has barely peaked yet. If any private company posted back-to-back billion-dollar losses while simultaneously losing customers because they can't guarantee their own service, they would already be long out of business right now. They would already be fully and unequivocally bankrupt right now. They'd be restructuring at the very least. The CEO would be long gone. But with Canada Post, well, what we get is we continue to review the contractual language. Wow, we're allowing this to continue as a country. Yes, that was the actual quote. And here's the thing. It seems like now as we sit here a year later, another holiday season upon us, that strike threatens us again. Negotiations seem to be endless. This is the part that Canadians, I know I am at least, are fed up with. The union says strike activity is suspended, not canceled, which means at any time they could bring it back. Canada Post says it won't lock anyone out for now. But the reality of the situation is CUPW, CUPW, whatever you want to call them, publicly states they can go back on strike at any time until the deal is ratified. And therefore, there's always a risk to our small businesses and to you as a personal Canadian trying to ship something this holiday season. So let me get this straight. There are agreements in principle. They are reviewing language because both sides don't love some of the language, but we have no idea when any of this will end, and they can walk out at any given moment again. Well, that is the last thing you would call stability, isn't it? That's not even close to certainty. That's not how you rebuild trust in a system, especially a postal system that's relied on daily. That's basically a hostage situation wrapped in a press release. So why wouldn't you go to Purolator or UPS or FedEx or some of the others? Small businesses are not going to sit there and wait around for the next rotating strike or last minute walkout. The Canadian Federation of Independent Business literally said this in recent weeks, that if we do not see an agreement reached soon, we could see more and more businesses going away from Canada Post and taking their shipping business elsewhere, despite the fact that the costs are higher. And newsflash to even them, small businesses they're already doing this. Do you think an entrepreneur in December is going to gamble their revenue on a crown corporation that could walk out on 72 hours notice? Not a chance. You think Etsy shops, Christmas markets, and online stores are going to sit around praying for good labor relations on their postal service? Not a chance. No way. They're gone. They're moving their accounts. And once you leave a shipping provider, you usually don't come back. And let's be honest, UPS and FedEx and Purolator all fight for that business. They're going to help fight for that business. And that's why you're probably never going back to Canada Post. And that's also why Canada Post is shrinking dramatically, and they even admit it. Here's where the things get really disturbing for our National Postal Service. The federal government already has a reform plan in place, and the thing is, it's all about cuts. It's cutting letter delivery. It's closing post offices, even in rural areas, moving everyone to community mailboxes, even if you're a senior or somebody with a disability who cannot get to that mailbox, they don't even care. Shrinking the workforce, laying off corporate staff, reducing delivery standards across the country. You name it. It's just nonstop. It's all cuts, and that's the plan. All while also losing over $1 billion this year. How is this possible? How is this allowed? And yet, CUPW, they launched a national strike to stop these reforms, but it failed. And the government didn't back down, and they still haven't. Their reforms that they've created are still happening. The workforce is still shrinking in the postal worker force, essentially. So what does that tell you as a Canadian citizen or as a small business or even a corporation? It tells you Canada Post is not just unstable, it's in transition, and you can't really be a part of that. It's not your time to lose money. It's not reliable, it's not dependable, it's not properly funded, it's not properly modernized, it's not properly managed in any way. It's a crown corporation being downsized while simultaneously dealing with the biggest surge in parcel demand in human history. Thank you, Amazon. So here's where you sit. And this is the organization we're supposed to count on at Christmas, is it not? But can we really? Absolutely not. There's a huge trust crisis with Canada Post right now. It's living off its nostalgia, but it's not going to work anymore. Let me tell you this, something you need to hear right now about this, because if you're still thinking about shipping things with Canada Post, know this. We only trust Canada Post because we remember the old Canada Post. That's the only trust I have left in it, and I don't trust it at all anymore. We remember, though, that the letter carrier who knew every dog on the street was our go-to for quick conversation in the morning. The Christmas season where everything still arrived on time back in the old Canada Post days. The iconic red and white trucks. You saw that coming, you got excited. Maybe your package is here. A sense of national reliability that felt like part of the country's identity, because it used to be. But that era has long since disappeared and continues to disappear now. Today's Canada Post is, quite frankly, a corporation losing over $1 billion. There's no other way to put it. There's no sugarcoating any of that. A union is in permanent conflict here with their management, and a leadership team that can't seem to guarantee a thing at all, including the delivery of your packages on time. They also have a shrinking service footprint, so it's harder to get to post offices, to find ways to return things and other things like that, and a delivery model that is collapsing under e-commerce volumes and pressures from some of these other careers. A political football every election cycle as well. They have to deal with constant talk about how they're run. You can't trust nostalgia. You can't ship a package with memories from 1998. You can't build a business on what Canada Post used to be. So trust can't be and is not sentimental. Trust, as always, with people, just like businesses, is earned, and Canada Post has stopped earning it. That's the reality. So the question then becomes, will businesses come back after a deal? My answer and my thought is, I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, certainly if I was running a much smaller business, I would not want to trust them again. Jasmine Gwinnett of the CFIB said it clearly. It's very unclear if small businesses will return to Canada Post once new contracts are ratified, because the trust has been broken. So here we have unclear, not guaranteed, not likely, as I just said. So because after a year of instability, rotating strikes, and a national walkout, all suspended service, well then now you have things like delayed flyers, labor disruption. Why would you come back? Businesses have realized something very important here. They don't have to rely on Canada Post anymore. Alternatives exist, and alternatives work well. Yeah, they might be a little more expensive, but if they're working well and you're guaranteed to get your packages there or your flyers delivered, do it. If the choice is pay more and get a little bit of reliability, or pay slightly less and risk that your entire holiday season campaign goes down the gutter, I think the choice is fairly easy, isn't it? Every business will choose the first option. That's how they would choose it. And I don't blame them, and you shouldn't either. The question now also becomes, can Canada as citizenry ever trust Canada Post again? Well, yeah, I hope, but only if 4 things happen. And here's number one. Number one, we need to see a deal signed immediately, not in principle, not under scrutiny, not under review, not under language review, signed, sealed, and delivered. Canadians cannot function under permanent strike threats. It's something we've now dealt with for over a year, and it's very, very stressful, especially to our senior population who uses Canada Post more frequently. Canada Post must also publicly guarantee holiday stability with no risk of walkouts. They also need to do this for future labor disruptions as well. Number 3, the corporation must explain its billion-dollar losses honestly as well. Where did that come? That's a lot of money. No more vague statements here. No more spin on how it was lost. We need the details. And Ottawa needs to stop using Canada Post as a political puppet. Let the corporation modernize itself without constant federal interference. Until then, no, we don't trust it. Not as Canadian citizens either. Small businesses, Canadian citizens, corporations, Canada cannot fully trust Canada Post. Not this season, not last, of course, not next year, not until the system is fixed. Because trust is not about heritage. It's not about our past. It's not about the red and white trucks. It isn't about branding. It isn't about being the national carrier. Trust is about certainty. And we don't have that with Canada Post at this point. Right now, Canadians don't have any certainty with how their packages will get anywhere. Thanks for watching Bakes on Things. The last word for your Friday. You made it. It's your weekend. Don't forget to join us tomorrow morning for the weekend wrap. And of course, as I teased a little bit yesterday, we've got our New York trip coming up next week, and it is going to be good. It's called Home A, as in EH alone, and we are going to do all of next week's episodes from NYC, so stay tuned for those episodes. But until then, tune in tomorrow morning for the weekend wrap. Have yourselves a great weekend, and we will see you tomorrow morning.